How's it going tonight? If no one showed up to my Wednesday night. Anyway, I've been working on the truck all day. Got it to where it'll sit down on the tires again. There'll be a video coming up here. Before too long. I got one watching. Who's watching? But that Holley lowering kit is not a bolt-on kit. There's a lot of fab that goes along with it. But I went down a little earlier today, but I had to go do some running around. And I had to buy myself a new welder today. What's up, Robert? Thanks for showing up. But I went and bought myself a nice Miller, or not Miller, but Lincoln welder. It's one of those that does the flux core and gas over MIG. And I went to Airgas, which is where you go get the gas for welders. And they wouldn't sell me a bottle because there was a bottle shortage. So I had to weld everything with just flux core. But, if I go and set up a business account with them, they'll rent me a bottle for $88 a year, but they won't sell me a bottle. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So, someone comes in, they want to jump in. There's the link. I guess it'll stick it to the top. But, yeah, I've been wrenching and beating and cussing all day long, sweating to death. But truck sitting there like this. Well, that would have been great. I'm just going to wait. I didn't really have time to wait because they said it was going to be it's going to take 3 hours to get everything set up with the account. And then I could come get a bottle. I was just wanting to buy a bottle and then just start exchanging it. But since there's some kind of weird bottle shortage, they don't want to just sell you a bottle. But I got the truck to the point where it's sitting back down the tires. Shocks aren't hooked up. The new rear end in it is all welded in there. Sorry, I'm getting onto my dogs. I want to go outside. But I gotta fill the rear end up. I gotta put the brakes back on the rear end. I gotta lower the front, but I got it sitting down on the tires now. So if the code enforcement comes around, they won't get me for having the truck in pieces. It looks like it's put back together. So I got to work the next 7 days. And after I get off my 7 days, then that's when I'll do the front of the truck. And I might go ahead and do the radiator and stuff and fluids because I got a couple 3 hours before I go to work. If I can fit that stuff in, So maybe after I get the front done, I can drive it up to the exhaust shop and have the exhaust done on it. There are 4 people in here. I don't know which 4 people it is, but there's 4 people in here. Yeah, I can get some pictures of that too. And it looks really weird right there at the spring perch, right around that area. It's all like deformed, and you can see where there's fluid all over it. So it's cracked all through there. I don't know if he tried to weld it right there or what, but it's not happy right there. I'm sorry, I'm finishing up dinner. I just barely got sat down in time for the live. Like I said, I spent 2 hours hunting around because the Home Depot here in town said they had one. Oh, I misread that. No, the original housing was messed up. The 79 housing is a good housing. Yeah, it did. I mean, it sat down on there. I had to, once I cleaned everything up, there was just a small gap that I had to fill in. And I seen on one of the short videos, somebody said something about don't use flux core on egg credence. Don't use flux core on anything that's gonna have stress. I put 4 or 5 passes on every weld. They should hold. We'll just have to see. Oh, that's always fun. Storms come and you lose internet. That's always fun. Hey, 162, what's going on? Hey, Jason, if you want to jump in here, here you go. How's it going, 162? Yeah, I thought I'd messed up because I thought I'd set this live for 7 o'clock, and I was like, well, I'm late as late. But I set it for 8 o'clock instead of 7 o'clock, so I guess I did myself a favor today. But that's all that's really been going on. But like I was saying, I had to went to Home Depot here in town, and the internet said they had a welder. Well, they didn't have one, so I had to drive halfway across town into Memphis to go get it. And then I drove back across town to Airgas, which is on the west side of Memphis, just to have them tell me they wouldn't sell me a bottle. So I just came home and started welding it flux core. This is good. Yeah, like I said, I was just talking about it's a nice Lincoln, and I think, in all reality, in the differences between that Harbor Freight one I had and the Lincoln I got, they I think the polarity or something was messed up on that Harbor Freight one because this Lincoln welds so much better. And I'm not a good welder, but the welds look 10 times better with the Lincoln welder than it did. There's Jason.
What's up?
I guess you didn't hear me about the no bottle. I went to Airgas, where it's where everybody gets their gas, and It
Right.
wouldn't sell me a bottle because there's a bottle shortage.
Oh shit! I just need to ship you a bottle then.
I couldn't believe it. I told him, I said, I just need one of those little ones, like 3 foot tall ones. I don't need one of the big stand up big ones. I just need a little one just for home use.
They'd probably freak out if I shipped you one.
Oh, I know.
Well, if you don't have one by no name, I will bring one because I've got multiple bottles. So,
Okay.
and
Yeah, I'm just,
my
yeah,
brother
they'll
Rob.
refill it.
Yeah, my brother Rob had the same issue. He had to take a bottle and they had to recertify it, and yeah, it's ridiculous, man.
It is.
Excuse me, my allergies. I was out working on my shed and I got sawdust up my nose.
Oh,
There's a storm coming, so the wind's all wonky.
right.
But yeah, I seen you were live. Is Dallas trying to do a Dallas is it's not trying to do a live. He is doing live. They're
Oh,
actually
is
doing
he?
pretty. Yeah, they're doing pretty good. They got about 50 people in there. I mean, nothing like when Tony would do it,
Right.
But hey, we do our own thing. They can do their own thing, right?
Right.
Let's see, you got 7, so
Yeah, I did barely. I had enough time to come in, shower, finish up dinner, and get on the live. I mean, it was that close.
yeah. Yeah, when you called earlier, man, we were busy and it was hot today.
Oh yeah.
I just got in a truck and I get ready to go drive it, and I was like, "Oh shit!" Travis called, and it was like I was just sitting in the air, like, ah. Hey, nice shirt you got on there, buddy.
Oh yeah, you like that?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I think I've seen that before.
Maybe.
Well, I seen the welds. It looks like you were letting it have it. So
Yeah.
yeah,
But
don't let anybody give you any shit about using a flex core welder, because like I said, hey Robert, like I said, I welded that Pitman arm, and it's fine. As long as everything's clean. I know it's a
yeah,
dirty, crappy looking weld, but once you get that cleaned off and get some paint on it, ain't nobody gonna know what it was.
yeah. Well, like I was saying, I think there was something wrong with that Harbor Freight welder I had because my welds look 10 times better with that Lincoln welder.
Mm-hmm. Well,
It just welded better.
the new inverter welders are they're insane. Like I said, my uncle had I started MIG welding in the muffler shops, and he needed me to weld. He was building an old Vega back in the day, and he had bought we call them splatter boxes because that's pretty much what they are. But I just talked my work into buying one today. As a matter of fact, like probably about an hour before I talked to you, we got it. Well, one of the guys had broke a exhaust stud off, and he couldn't get a hold of it because it was in a real precarious place. So I stuck a nut up in there, and we don't even have a helmet. I just like buzzed it, let it cool off. We heated the manifold up, pulled the thing out, and those guys were like, "Holy crap!" I'm like, "Yeah, if I could see what I was doing, we would really be good."
Yeah.
So they got to get a helmet, but
I bought a new helmet today. I went and got the new helmet and I started welding, and I could see a little better with that more expensive helmet. And then went and got that other one.
Yeah. Let me run out here and grab this Pitman arm real quick, and I'll show you how good it welded. Hold on just a second.
All right.
It'll take me just a minute.
Dang, it was hot out. What part of Oklahoma? Because my wife's got a friend that lives out there too. What's up, John? Yes welders. What's a yes welder? I ain't even gonna try and pronounce that. About 20 minutes from Norman. I'm not sure where she lives at. She lives in Edmond.
All right. Let me.
See if I can figure out how to blow you up here.
Oh, you're good. Yeah, if you just put single, but you know, Pitman arms are a heavy piece of cast. Yeah, you clicked the wrong one. Yeah, if you just click the little three things over on the side, there you go. I mean, look at that. That is a flux core welder. And all I've done is smack that with a hammer. So now I cut a big gap. I mean, there was a really large V that I cut in this. And I just tacked it on each end and I filled it in. It probably took me 4 or 5 passes. Like, that is not going to break. I guarantee you that's not going to break.
That's just weld.
And that's just metal, yeah. So I said, don't let anybody give you shit about that. It's fine.
Yeah. I was like, well, we'll just see if it worked.
Well, my kid welds, welding equipment, mining equipment in Wyoming, and all they use is an arc welder, which is pretty much what you're doing when you're flux core welding. Is, the only difference between an arc welder is the sticks, the flux is on the outside, so it's still a dirty weld, but it's like, in my opinion, it's probably one of the best welds there are.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I still want to get some gas just to see how much better I can make them look.
It's so much cleaner, and it's
like,
especially when you're inside welding. It's like I said, when I was welding that stuff over the winter, when I was welding the floor pans in, my wife was like, "What is going on in this garage?" It was just full of smoke, So, but yeah, I'm pretty impressed with that, and this is a little, $150, cheapy Amazon thing.
Right. Well, I got upset because I wanted to do some extra tacks kind of in the corners and stuff.
Right.
And I'd set it down. I cleaned everything up. I let it cool for a little bit, and I picked it up and got ready, and it wouldn't do anything. I'm like, don't tell me I got to take this welder back already.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
And what it does, it comes down from the cord there, and it's got an extra plug that plugs into the welder itself.
Uh-huh.
Well, I didn't tighten that little set screw or whatever down on it, and it slid out, and that's the controller.
Oh, got you. For the trigger? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, this one's weird. When you pull the trigger, it starts out slow, and then it gradually speeds up the speed to wherever you set it. So it's like, sometimes you go to weld something, you're like, what the heck? And then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, But yeah, of course, I'm sure I have a lot more welding experience, but it's doable. Like I said, when they welded those rear ends at the factory, they probably used a stick welder, back in, what was that? Probably a late 60s, early 70s axle that you're using,
Yeah.
I was thinking about that the other day. I was going to ask you, like, I don't know what the width of my rear end is though, but were there cars that had a fairly narrow 8 3/4? Because I'd really like to put one in my truck if I could find one.
Let me find my Mopar rear end chart.
Yeah.
And I'll email it to you.
Okay, that's cool.
It's on my computer somewhere.
Okay.
Or
I
I'll
want to put
something.
I want to put something different in it. Like, I want to put an 8.8 Ford in it because I've used those a lot. But I always like those front loader, rear ends where we could have another set of gears and slap in it or whatever. I think they look cool because the back of them is nice and smooth. You can clean them up.
Right.
A lot of people always think they're Ford rear ends.
Right. I put that one in today, and I was on my creeper. I had to sit there and roll it over onto my chest, and then creep up to the rear end, and then heave it. Luckily it's only about this high.
People don't realize the struggle of working on stuff by yourself. I don't know.
Well, there's no way to do one of those by yourself.
I don't know if you guys saw that, but that's what Travis's truck looks like. It's pretty freaking sweet, and that's without the front loader yet.
Right.
It looks pretty level, actually. I mean,
well, when you actually look at it,
I do see now. The front end's a couple inches higher, and yeah,
Right.
that
But
thing's gonna look mean when you get the front end down on it, dude. That's gonna be
right.
badass.
It'll be after my my 7 off
Yeah,
or
yeah, you're
my
probably
my 7 nights.
right.
But I'm gonna do little things like do the radiator and stuff like that. A little bit of wiring I got because I got a couple 3 hours from the time I get up until I have to get ready for work.
Yep.
One of my night shifts. So
Mhm.
and the kids will be at school, so I'll have some time to get out there and piddle around, do little things.
Right. I was the exact opposite. Like when I worked, there was a truck plant here in town I worked at for about 2 years, and I worked the night shift. So I would get home, I would get off work at 4 a.m. and I would come home. Of course, I would do quiet stuff. I didn't do loud stuff. And my
Right.
kids were really, really little back then. And yeah, I would just go out in the garage that was back when I was building my Fox body, my race car that I had for
Yeah.
20 years. And yeah, I'd just piddle every night for maybe an hour or two, drink a couple beers, and then I was ready to go to sleep, because I'm one of them guys that I get up 5 minutes before I got to be at work, and it's a 10-minute drive,
Yeah.
I don't get up early,
Yeah. I get usually, on any given day on day shift, I get up. I got to be at work at 5 or a little after, and I get up at 4:30, and I'm ready to walk out the door at 10 till usually.
There you go. First responder, you are correct. A lot of guys don't realize MIG weld is only to penetrate 30 to 40%, as a stick is 100%. Yep.
Wow,
Yep. You are correct.
that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so my kid will cut, these, I think it's 37.5-degree,
Mm-hmm.
and then they call it a fillet because they got to fill it. And yeah, that's what they do. They just burn it in, keep burning it in, burn it in. They burn it in, knock the slag off, burn it in, knock the slag off.
Yeah,
Which is what I did with that. Go ahead.
That's the way they did on the ships too when they had to put new decking in.
Mm-hmm.
They cut a big old V in it.
Yep.
And I mean, they'd be walking down the deck welding it. Then they'd get to the end and they'd pick their lines up, walk all the way back across the deck,
yep,
and start that weld again. They had to be.
Yeah.
They could only stop 3 or 4 times within that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they had to keep it hot. The metal had to stay hot. That was something else I did do with that. I heated this with a propane torch real good before I hit it. So you were in the Navy then, weren't you?
No, I was in the Navy, but
okay, yeah.
I worked in the shipyards when I was younger.
Okay.
I was an electrician in shipyards.
Yeah, I didn't know you were in the service. Thanks for your service.
Thank you.
I was almost a wing nut. I was almost in the Air Force, but then I had a baby early and before I was even out of high school, and my grandpa talked me out of it because he was a Marine.
Well, see, I went to the Air Force first because my first thing, I wanted to be a helicopter pilot. I still want to be a helicopter pilot.
I wanted to be an airborne ranger. I want to jump out of planes, believe it or not. Ain't no way in hell I'd do that now, but.
But I went to the Air Force and they said, did you complete high school? I said, well, no, I got my GED. He says, I can't even talk to you.
Really?
Wow. Yeah. And then, this was like the early 90s.
Yeah. It was different back then, right?
Right. And I went over to the Air Force or the Army. They said, yeah, we can get you flying helicopters, but you're going to have to be in for like 10 years before you can even get into flight school. Mm-hmm. And you'll have to be a mechanic on a helicopter, and then you have to transition over to a warrant officer in order to. I was like, I don't want that big of a commitment.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I want to do like 2 years and get the hell out.
Right. I just want to learn how to fly a helicopter, then go out here and go to work for a news company or the police department or something.
Yeah, that will be fun.
That was my plan to begin with.
Yeah, I did jump out of a plane when I was like 14. They had a skydiving place south of town out in the country. Of course, it's not country anymore. It's all freaking houses. But yeah, I did that. And then, because like I said, my grandpa was a Marine and my grandmother was like one of the first Civil Air Patrol women pilots.
Wow.
And yeah. And a lot of my friends, well, I live right by Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. So I mean, you can look out my back window here and see the museum and stuff. So I've grown up around Air Force guys my whole life. And I mean, my oldest, dearest friend, which I've known since I was 8 years old, he actually just retired from the Air Force. And his dad and his older brother were like very high ranked officer type people. So I was around it my whole life, you know. I was ready to do it.
Here.
What's up, Buck? You know, when Buck's here, it's on. Don must be over in
more likely
Dallas's thing. Yeah, actually, I didn't see him. I was on there for a hot second, and then yours popped up, and I'm like, oh crap, I forgot. Travis was going to do Wednesday night. Hey, Tom, how you doing, brother?
Yeah, Tom showed up.
Is Dallas's thing over with? That's got to be what it is. Which is fine with us, you know.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, so it's gonna be really crappy weather for the next couple days here. I was actually out tonight. There's a storm coming in now. I'm working on my barn. I think I told you that.
Yeah.
And so I got the roof. I started the roof trusses, whatever you want to call them. It's ready to go. So I hurried up and did that. Fucking 10-foot 2x4s, $7.98. I'm like, shit. I bought $80 worth of 2x4s and I only got 10 of them, you know.
Right.
So I need to go get. I figured it out. I need to get 6 more of those 10-footers for the roof, and then I need to get 12 sheets of plywood to be able to sheet the whole outside of it. Actually, probably a little bit more than that. But at least I could get it. I'm hoping this weekend to get it dried in, and then and work on the truck. The transmission parts are supposed to be here tomorrow. And actually, I mean, these transmissions are so simple. I should be able to get that thing put together in an evening by myself, you know.
It's an automatic transmission. Somebody else needs to do it.
Yeah, right.
That's the way I do automatic transmissions. Here, fix it. Okay, it works.
Man, the Power Glides are just, compared to the stuff I've worked on in my life, the Power Glide is just super simple. I mean, super simple. There's 2 clutch backs, you know. It's so stupid. Actually, the only other, I shouldn't say that. The only other transmission I've ever done is a C4, and it only had 2 clutch backs also. So, you know, pretty similar to what I was used to doing.
I helped a buddy rebuild a Toyota 5-speed transmission.
Mm-hmm. An automatic or a manual?
Automatic.
Yeah. Yeah, they have all those extra little drums inside the drums, and yeah. Can you think of what these? Can you imagine what these 10-speed transmissions are now?
Oh, I know.
I looked at a diagram and I'm like, oh my gosh, like what the, you know?
Yeah.
It's like they just make all these little tiny clutch packs inside the big clutch packs. It's like,
right.
The clutch pack's literally like this. There's like 27 clutches in this one pack, but it's 4 different gears, you know? It's like, Jeezy Pete.
Yeah, because my buddy called me and says, I need help with this transmission. I was like, I can hand you parts and stuff, but I ain't doing anything with it.
See,
like, that's all I need. I just need somebody to help me hand parts and stuff. Like, okay.
Right. Well, Robbie and I, one year, he had an old Camaro with a 2.8 and a 5-speed in it, and it is bone cold winter. He worked out on the flight line for Emery Worldwide. I don't know if you remember that. It was like, I think FedEx bought that, and he worked out on the flight line. So it was so cold whenever he worked, regardless. And we put that 5-speed up on the engine stand and took it apart because somebody and that transmission was designed to run automatic transmission fluid in it, and somebody had put like gear oil in it, like an old style transmission. Well, on the shifter forks, these had like little, I think they were polyurethane little bushings that went around it it wore all those bushings out. So this thing was just like, it was all over the place, you know? So we took that thing apart, and I mean, it was just 900 roll pins and just, but I mean, we got it back together, but I'm like, I don't really think I want to do another one of these. But it was fun.
I could probably do a manual
Hmm.
because it's all I've looked inside of them and stuff, and you just have to get the gears in the right spot.
Right. Well, it's like that manual stream box. I'm 49 years old. I'm the same year as you are. I've never had a steering box apart. Well, that one was kind of gritty, and I'm like, well, it probably needs some grease in it and stuff. So I started taking it apart, and it is the simplest thing in the world.
Yeah, it's just a worm gear
It's a worm
with
gear
another gear.
with like a quarter of a ring gear, pretty much.
Right.
And yeah, I just took everything apart, went over to wire wheel, cleaned all the rust off, cleaned all the rust out, shoved a big handful of grease in it, put it back together, and worked it back and forth. And man, that thing's like it's butter
Mm-hmm.
now. But I literally that was something I had never done before. So
The steering boxes are easy.
yeah, you learn something every day. But yeah, I never took I adjusted some like power steering boxes and stuff before,
Mhm.
but I've never had one apart. You just call and get a rebuilt one and they send it to you, a reman one. So
Yeah. When I was younger, I had a 70 Maverick,
yeah,
and you would have to turn that thing probably a quarter turn before it would react.
right. Yeah, you're
Either
just
way.
chasing it. Don't. Yeah.
So I took it over to my dad's house. And like, well, we'll just rebuild that thing. It's probably just needs bushings in it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So we pulled it off, and I mean, we had it done in probably an hour.
Right, and you probably spent like $5 on parts.
I think it was $15 altogether.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. With the grease and all.
Well,
Put it back in there, and that thing, you couldn't hardly breathe on the steering wheel after we got it done.
Yeah, I worked at one shop when I was younger, and the guy, his side job was he rebuilt starters and alternators, and I had a starter I needed done, and he said, "Man, you can literally fix that starter for about $3." He's like, "I'm gonna bring you the parts, and I'll tell you how to do it." And so he just was like, take it apart, clean the armature out and all that stuff, and then had new brushes and blah, put it in. Perfect. He was like, yeah, and the parts house gets like $100 for that starter. It's like,
so we have a place in town. What's it, Jackson Armature?
Mm-hmm.
They rebuild starters and alternators and all that kind of stuff.
We used to have 3 or 4. We had this one really nice. It was called Electric Garage, and the guy started back in the day. He was, in an alley, here in the city. He had a little garage, and all he did was he just rebuilt stuff in his garage, and then he kind of stepped up. Well, he just retired last year, and it was like, and his kids didn't want to take it over. And I'm like, man, I wish I could have got a hold of him. Like, hey, what's up, Dr. Art?
Oh, Dr. Art showed up.
Mm-hmm.
Rockin'.
I got a dribble cup. But yeah, it's just so much stuff that's going away, and it's sad,
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's simpler. Just send it out. Yeah, have somebody else do it.
We do have one more shop. It's over in the old part of town. It's over here is the west side, which used to be kind of the bad end of town, but now it's getting better. But and they're pretty cool with it. We send a lot of stuff over there, and we have one really good carburetor guy. He's over in the north end of town, the old north side of town. So, but man, those guys they're going away.
Right.
There's absolutely no radiator shops anymore.
No.
None.
You can't find anybody break a radiator anymore.
Nope. Man, they used to be on every corner,
Yeah. And now, I mean, if you go buy a radiator, even for an older car, it's a plastic top, aluminum.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Aluminum tank or aluminum core, plastic tanks. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, then now you can buy those cheapo aluminum ones, for nothing, and not that they're not defective or anything, but you know what I mean. You can get. I think I looked the other day. I'm going to put a manual transmission radiator in mine because I'm just going to run one of those frame mounted oil coolers for the transmission. Brand new one's like $60 on eBay for a plastic
Wow.
tank, aluminum radiator, which that's what that truck had anyway, but
Right.
they're just so cheap, man.
Yep, John, I'll agree with you on that.
Yeah, you're right, buddy. They do not have the shop classes anymore yet.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, spend $200,000 on it, yeah, and still not have a job. Like two of my, well, actually all three of my girls have degrees, and they do not work in those fields.
Right.
It's bullshit, and we spent a fortune on it. Like I said, my youngest went to school the least amount of time and has a job in his field. He went to school for 9 months, moved, and he's making more money than him and his mom both put, me and his mom both put together, It's crazy.
Well, like I tell people, I said, you don't have to go to college. I dropped out in the 9th grade
Trade school
and worked
too.
my butt off,
Mm-hmm.
in a trade, and it got me into a 6-figure job.
Yep. I'm getting close. I have a GED. I'm a self-taught mechanic. I've been doing it since I was 16 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm getting close to 6 figures, like really close now, especially that I got this new job. It can be done. I mean, the kids coming in think they're just going to walk in and making that kind of money. It's like, no, you got to put in your dues,
Right.
But I really do. I push the trade. The trades are going away. It's like, who the hell's going to do this when I'm gone?
Right. Well, my dad told me, when I was younger, he said, you need to get a trade because they can't take that away from you.
Nope. We can trade.
They-
We can trade what we do for anything. That's why they call it a trade.
Right. And he said they can blackball you on your degree if they want to. Piss off the wrong people, they can.
Yep.
Just
go
discount
away. Yeah, discount your credibility, right? Yeah.
Right. But me, I came up as an electrician.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people were like, "Well, what if you get fired from TVA?" I go back to pulling wire.
Well, and you can work on cars too. So
yeah,
fuck it, I said
I can turn wrenches and pull wire and drive truck, and I've had a lot of jobs over the years.
Well, that's how I feel. Is like I can be a mechanic, I can drive a truck. I'm not the greatest construction person. My grandpa was, but like I'm fine. I'm not. Nothing's gonna be wrong with me. I can survive.
Mhm.
So, like, I can fix my own plumbing. I can, and I think you're somewhat gifted with that sort of mechanical mind where you understand how things work by looking at them. Like, I drive my wife crazy. Like, I'm building this barn, and she's like, "What are you doing?" I'll just be standing there looking at it, and she's like, "What are you doing?"
Yep.
I'm like, "Well, I'm trying to figure out what it's going to look like when I'm done, how I want to put it together." And she was like, she's like, "I don't understand where you get your vision from." I'm like, I don't know either. It's,
Well,
some people have it, some people don't,
that's like when I'm troubleshooting stuff. I'll stand there and just look at it, and people are like, "What are you doing?" It's like I'm troubleshooting.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
It's like when I got a wire yeah. Right. Well, you're sitting there and you got like a wire diagram in front of you, like a car, and people are like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Well, I'm tracing where the wire goes. I'm trying to, what relay is getting triggered by this ground." Some of them get, and they're like, "I don't get it." And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, man. It's like,
well, there's been many times someone's been going on with a car or something at work or something, and I'll stand there and just stare at it, and I can't say that I'm really thinking, but the wheels are turning. I'm not really thinking it out. I'm just kind of just looking at it, and all of a sudden it's like, that's what's wrong, and that's what needs to be fixed.
well, it's
I don't know how that works.
I think what it is, a lot of times it happens with me now. Like, I was doing a water pump on a quad 4. You remember those quad 4 engines? Yeah. And I thought I would never do another one of them again. I haven't done one for like 20 years. But I work in a neighborhood where it's a lot of older people that don't drive their cars very much, and they're very well to do. And this car's like brand new. It only has like 60,000 miles on it. It's a 1999.
Wow.
And I'm sitting there and I'm just looking. I'm staring at it. And they're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Well, I'm trying to remember. I know I knew all the tricks how to do this." And then, like I said, all of a sudden you're like, your brain it goes back to that memory spot way back here, and it's like,
Mhm.
oh, there's all. Yeah, I remember I had to do this, that. And then everything went smooth.
Right.
So I think we're just
Yeah, John, I understand what you're saying. You can just see it.
yep. You know what, John? That's pretty. Both of my great grandfathers were machinists. Um, my great grandfather Hayes, that's my maiden name, or whatever you want to call it. He actually worked for it was Dayton Electric Company, which actually turned into Delco, which you guys probably know.
My dad actually worked for them.
Did he work for Delco? Yep.
Yeah.
So I have a wrench in my toolbox, and his name was Walker. That was my grandfather's father. I actually have that wrench is in my toolbox, an adjustable wrench. It's over
Wow.
100 years old, and I use it probably once or twice a week. And then my grandmother's father was an engineer at General Electric, and he was actually a German
Oh,
immigrant. And he spoke broken English. He's a humongous guy, man. He's a giant fucking dude.
mhm.
And yeah, but yeah, they were both machinists. It's pretty cool.
The thing is, like at work, we have machinists at work, but they're not really what I would call a machinist.
Right. They're just a programmer on the CNC machine or whatever they're
No,
working on.
they don't even, that's not, no, they're pretty much the mechanics that go and change pumps and motors and stuff like that.
Oh, got you.
They don't
Yeah,
make anything. Machinists to me make stuff.
they do. Yeah, machinists measure things and envision things and repair things. Yes. Well, they make things. Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
I
But
agree with
but
that.
like
But
one of the machinists I worked with at TVA, he was actually a machinist. He knew how to run a lathe and
mm,
and do everything. And it was great because if I needed a part made for something, I'd be like, "This is what I need," and I'd give him pictures of it. And he's like, "Well, measure what you need, and then give me the measurement."
is he the one that made that spacer for your
No,
boiler?
that was the guy I
Okay. Oh,
that I work with now.
speaking of that, the shop I work in now, they were gonna the old Amoco brake lathes, for turning
Mm-hmm.
drums and rotors. They were gonna throw it out.
Right.
I'm like, no, 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 no. They're like, what? Do you want it? I'm like, yeah. They're like, oh, you can have it. I mean, I can't tell you how many parts me and my brother have made on a brake lathe over the years. You know?
I mean,
I'm
a
like, yeah,
lathe is
don't
a
throw
lathe.
that thing away. It's not the greatest lathe, but I've turned down some stuff and made parts on it. I'm like, yeah, don't throw that away. So yeah, when I get my little barn done out there, I'll have an old Amoco drum rotor lathe out there.
Nice. I'd like to get a small lathe and a I can't think of the other one.
A little
One
end
you
mill.
can Yeah, an end mill.
Yeah, a little
Yeah,
mill.
one you
I
can
would
use for a drill press and
yeah.
everything too.
Yeah, I would love to have a little end mill. Yeah. Buck
I
says
don't
he can
know
make a
quite how to
sandwich.
I don't quite know how to use them, but I'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's pretty much like an end mill is just like you said, it's pretty much like a drill press, but then you can move the table as well as you got up and down, but then you also have
Right.
side to side, front to back, and yeah, it would be cool for making well like your spring brackets. I mean, you could have cut something out like that on a little end mill.
Oh yeah.
I what I would really like to have one of these days, and I'm probably going way out there, is like a CAD cam plasma cutter, just a small one, like as
Yeah.
big as my desk right here. Just if I could put like a 3x3 piece of metal on it and cut 6-inch by 6-inch parts on it, making spring brackets and
Oh
stuff
yeah.
like motor mounts and stuff like that.
I'd love to have even just a freehand plasma cutter.
Yeah, John says a end mill is a vertical lathe. Yep.
Yeah.
What's up, 162? But yeah, a friend of mine here in town, they have a water jet. So really anytime I need anything cut, I make a pattern and take it to him, and man, he makes the cool. He's like, "How thick you want it?" You know, that's all he asks me. He's like, "Bring me a paper template, I'll cut it," and it's so clean. But
Oh yeah.
yeah, I was talking to him about a plasma, and he was like, "Yeah," he's like, "They're really coming down." He's like, "You can get a decent plasma table for about $1,000, and it'll run off 110 even. They don't even have to have any crazy,
Wow.
220, 440 shit anymore."
Hold on a second.
Mm-hmm. Going through the comments real quick, making sure we didn't miss anything.
I'm having to get on to my dogs. I got my female puppies and my old male is going nuts.
Oh shit. Yeah, we took our
We're gonna have Boston Pits.
oh yeah, right.
An ugly ass dog.
We took our we've got he's a Beagle and a King Charles mix, and
Okay.
he's called a Bigliere. Great dog, real well mannered, sweetest thing in the world. We took him to the vet today when I got home, and they said, I need to look this up. I don't know if this is true, but they said they did a Beagle rescue in West Virginia. It was like 4,000 puppies.
Wow.
And I was like, I gotta look that up because the guy was saying, yeah, they were, people were adopting them, and because my dachshund, I don't think she's too long for this world, unfortunately, and it's like, I really like the Beagle's temperament, But yeah, I'm gonna look into it. I'm like, I'll drive down to West by God and get me a dog, especially a rescue dog. All my dogs have been rescue dogs. I don't,
Well, the best dogs I've ever had have found me.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm. They're the best dogs I've ever had. Now this new puppy, she's pretty good. She's the first pit I've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
Full blood pit. She's pretty good.
Man, all the pit bulls I've ever been around that my friends and like my dad's friends have had, when I was a kid, they've always been the biggest sweetheart dogs in the world. You got to raise them right,
Yeah, but I had a friend that her two pits had a litter, and she kept one of them. It was a little male, and that dog was insane. They had to put it down by the time it was 6 months old.
No shit.
It was attacking
stuff.
Yeah, it was attacking everybody, even the mom and dad. There was something wrong with that dog.
That must be that whole nurture versus nature thing,
Yeah, I don't know, but that dog he went insane.
Did you ever see when they did like that? I can't think of what it was. Some government, they did like the gray fox. It was actually not our government. Russia did it. They were trying to train foxes to be like messenger dogs or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And they get one good one, and then they get another good one, and they did it for like 30 years. And then every time they bred them, it was like they get one good one and like 9 just fucking Tasmanian devils just tear you to pieces. And it's just like certain animals you can't do that with. And unfortunately, the dog is, it's 98%, wolf. So I mean, they take care of themselves, but yeah, something didn't sound like it was right in that dog.
But that's the only pit bull her pit bulls were fine. First time I met them, they were all bowed up and everything looking at me. But once when she was like, yeah, he's okay. And, and I petted him and everything, they were fine.
Yeah. I've walked up to many pit bulls and everybody's like, you sure you want to walk out that dog? I'm like, he's sitting and wagging his tail. And I always ask the owner, like, hey, can I say hi to your dog? I'm like, oh yeah. And they'll give you the paw. I mean, they're just,
Yeah. Well, any dog, if I'm outside and a strange dog comes up, I'm always leery.
Yeah. You have to be. Yeah.
And then you kind of figure out if they're good or not. But like you said, if they're wagging their tail and their tongue's hanging out,
they're
hurt you.
Like if they're more scared of you than you are of them, it's like they're good. They're cool. Yeah, my one daughter helps raise I call them four paws dogs. They're the Caesar dogs, the companion dogs, the PTSD dogs, and And man, she gets upset because she gets really attached to them because she like fosters them through their training, and
Right.
then if they make it, then they go to advanced training. And she's had so many that actually have made it. She has this one now, and they're always like they're labradoodles or labradors, um,
Mhm.
or the big. She actually got a flunky. It's the full size poodle.
Oh, geez.
Best dog in the world, dude. This dog is so good. And but yes, this one she has now, this one's gonna go because I haven't not ever heard this dog bark yet. I haven't heard her bark.
Really?
I haven't heard her whine. And she literally, she doesn't even know who I am. I walked. They live. They just bought a condo right down the street from my work. I walked down
Mhm.
there at lunch the other day because my daughter's having some problem with her eye. Um, she actually had shingles in her eye.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Yeah.
She's 25. She had shingles her senior year, and she played soccer, and it was like up her neck. And
Wow.
yeah, she didn't, that was right before they came out with a chicken pox shot. So yeah, I feel bad for her. And she's real fair skinned. She burns real easy.
Hmm.
So I thought, well, I'm going to walk down there and check on her because I know she wasn't allowed to drive. And all the litters have names. Like there's a New Year's Eve name, the New Year's Eve litter, and they're all named after wines and whatever. Well, this is the
Yeah.
noodle litter, so she's Rotini.
Oh,
They
okay.
call her Ro. As soon as I walked up there, she comes over and she goes right by my right leg, right by my heel, like, and sits. And Hannah was like, "Holy shit, Dad!" She just really, literally, just walked. I was like, so I started walking, and she stayed right by my heel, like right there. And I'm
Wow.
like, I would love to have this dog, but this is going to be somebody's companion dog.
Right.
They're just so smart, man.
Well, we looked into that for my daughter Allison.
Yeah.
And they're
Mhm.
they're like 15 grand.
They're very expensive. Well, that flunky dog that Hannah bought was like $2,500. So
Hmm.
yeah, they breed them here they breed them down by Cincinnati. They actually breed them at the prison at Lebanon Correction. Lebanon Correction. They train them very well in there. Like by the time they get them when they're puppies, they already know how to sit, stay,
Yeah.
don't speak. And yeah, they spend a lot of money on them. So yeah, and it's all done here in Ohio, and they go all over the world. You know,
Right.
but yeah, they're I agree, they're very expensive. Yes, but they spend a lot of time. Like
Oh,
when
yeah.
Hannah.
It's worth the money. I'm not
Oh
saying it's
yeah,
not worth the money. They're going to
right.
spend it.
But they're just very expensive. Yeah, I get it.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. I wish they were more affordable, especially for if we needed them, like a PTS dog or your kids need them for the autism. And
Right.
but I mean, Hannah
Well,
has
they
her.
do have the, what do they call it, the help form, and she might be able to qualify when she gets older.
Yes, when she gets older, she probably will be to go get one. Yep, yep.
And that it's paid for through donations and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep, yep. But man, I can tell you they like Hannah has her Sunday through Thursday, and then Hannah's actually in a one of those fast track programs, like 9-month thing.
Hmm.
And she goes to school about 2 hours north of here. She stays up there Monday through Thursday,
Wow.
or Sunday through Thursday. So she takes her during then, and then when she gets home, she has her on Friday, and then on the weekend, another foster has her. Well, Four Paws sends you all the food you need, and if you have to take her to the vet, they
Hmm.
contact the vet, and if she needs to be groomed, they groom her. I mean, they spend a shitload on them to make sure they're healthy and safe,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they're always trimming their nails, and so it's an amazing thing. You know, like I said, I've seen her get very upset. She's probably had probably 10 of them now, and I would bet you 7 of them went to advanced training and got
Well,
kids or people.
yeah.
One of them went to Alaska here recently, and because that dog stayed with us for a while, because Hannah actually lived right here where we're sitting right now. This was her room where I'm at. So
Well, we were looking at it, and it's like they do all this training, and then and then you have to go there, and they pair you up with the dog,
Correct.
and then you have like 6 months where you're training with the dog
Yep. That's their advanced
before
training.
you get them.
Yep.
Yeah, before you actually get to take them home.
Yep. Yeah, it's a long drawn out process, and then, like I said, I've seen Hannah get really upset about it, and then finally she got to keep the one she has now, because this one wouldn't bark when something was happening. They were training her to be a seizure dog, and
Okay.
literally she wouldn't bark. I mean, this dog never barks. And the cool thing about the golden doodles is they're hypoallergenic as well,
Oh, really?
Yeah. So she's a beast. She's real tall, real skinny. She's real lanky. She knocks shit over. She's a trip. But I never mind watching her. Hannah's always like, "Dad, I need you to watch the dog for a week." Like, "Yeah, bring her on over." Her name's Lily. I'm like, "Yeah," and she gets along with our dogs too. So
yeah, I'm just kind of glad that our pet. I don't know if she'll get any taller, but she's got that tail on her that's about this big around.
Yeah, and it's just the whip. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I got bruises on my leg.
Oh yeah.
And if she gets much taller, she'll be knocking stuff off the coffee table.
She'll be knocking the lamp off and the coffee cups and the ashtrays and the laptops. Yeah,
Right.
I get it.
But on the 12th, she goes under the knife if she doesn't get got.
It's gonna get fixed. Yeah, if Big Daddy don't get a hold of her.
What's funny is he's a Boston Terrier, right? So he's barely tall enough.
Oh, he's kind of a short guy, isn't he? Yeah.
Right. So he'll get up there and get going, and he's probably that far away from it.
Right. He's giving her
going
knees.
To town.
He's giving her knees some action.
Right. He's going to town.
I was like that little rooster that Big Mike was talking about. I said, "Man, we need to build that rooster a stool." Shit. Oh, anyway.
Yeah, I've been on here for about an hour. I think I'm gonna get off here and do some more relaxing.
It's about my bedtime too, man. I appreciate that. It was a good time.
Oh yeah. So, all right. I want to thank everybody for showing up.
Yeah.
I think 7 was the max tonight.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fine.
We'll do better.
Yeah.
And call me if you need anything.
Next week I'll do Thursday.
Okay.
I got to work Wednesday night, so I'll do.
You're getting ready to start your. Yep, I got you.
Yep.
All right, man. We'll take it easy.
Right.
I'll see you.
Yeah, I'll take it easy. Later, guys.